If you are a Scorpio rising, you do not get neutral experiences. You get intensity, you get power struggles, you get charged rooms, you get side eyes, you get jealousy, manipulation, all the things, right? And at some point, you kind of have to ask yourself, is life just intense, or am I bringing intensity everywhere I go? All right. So in this video, we're talking about Scorpio rising, control, power struggles, and how to stop weaponizing your own depth. So, if you want to know more, stick around. You definitely don't want to miss this. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. If you're new around here, my name is Mel. I'm a professional astrologer, and I'm the founder of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So, if you're new, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So today I'm talking about Scorpio rising, okay? And this is just a follow-up to my Scorpio rising video that I did quite a while ago, right? And in my private practice lately, I've been reading for a lot of Scorpio risings. As a matter of fact, my last three clients were all Scorpio risings. And I noticed something very similar amongst them, right? It is the issue of power and control, but in a very specific sort of way. All right. And so when we talk about Scorpio rising, it means that Scorpio is your first house, right? And the first house covers your physical appearance, it covers your outlook, but it also covers like how you meet life and how life meets you. It's really how you interface with the world. And as a Scorpio rising, how you interface with the world has a lot to do with power struggles, transformation, control, and intensity, right? And it can oftentimes be really difficult to navigate this because if you're unaware of the energy that you bring, or if you're unaware as to why certain energies find you, it can make things really difficult. Because maybe you're always experiencing intensity. Maybe you're always experiencing people treating you a certain way. Or maybe you go into situations thinking that they're going to be one way and they turn out the exact opposite and you don't know why, right? I feel like this video can really shed light on how you show up, what shows up for you, and how best to use this energy. All right. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So at the outset, very first thing out the gate, it's important for you to understand that you just don't walk into rooms, you shift them, you shift the energy. I love to call Scorpio rising the disruptors because whether you realize it or not, your energy shifts things. Now, that isn't always a bad thing, right? You could really shift the energy in a positive way. But I want you to understand out the gate that when you walk into a place, you change it, all right, for better or for worse. Now, the themes of Scorpio energy generally are transformation, psychological awareness, control, crisis, survival instincts, fear to a certain extent. So understand that when you walk into a room or when you interface with people, these are the things that may come up. And not necessarily in you, but perhaps in them. And if it comes up in them, it really dictates how they react to you or how they interact with you. Now, apart from just the energy that you bring, there are certain innate qualities that you have. So, Scorpio energy is really great at reading subtext, reading between the lines, really projecting onto people and having people project onto you, seeing the uh seeing what's underneath the surface as opposed to just superficiality, right? So even if you walk into a space, you understand perhaps why that person is talking the way that they are. Or maybe you understand that the person who's really confident underneath really isn't so. And because when you see it, you can't unsee it, it really dictates how you treat them or how you talk to them. And so you could find yourself in situations where you're projecting onto people, people are projecting onto you, and it causes this whole melee. It causes all of this transformation. And again, if you don't know why, you may think that, well, this is just how life is. But it's really important that you understand that not only do you shift rooms, but you hold a lot of power. And it's really important to understand how you wield that power. That can help you control situations as opposed to being controlled by them, right? And this isn't to say that you need to manipulate every situation, but also you don't want to get dragged by life either. So now I want to talk about three sort of stages of this that you should be aware of and that can really help you understand how you show up and why things are happening the way that they do. All right. So as I just mentioned, there are like three groups or three levels of this Scorpio rising energy, right? There's the unconscious Scorpio rising, the reactive Scorpio rising, and the mature Scorpio rising. So let's first talk about the unconscious Scorpio rising. You likely have no idea of the power that you hold, and therefore you wield it kind of recklessly. Okay, if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking down at my notes. All right. The unconscious Scorpio rising is like, why is everything so intense? Not realizing that they're kind of part of the intensity. So they create emotional tension, they withhold information, they may be chaotic, especially in relationships. But more likely than not, they really test people instead of trusting. Now, trust is a very big thing for Scorpio energy. So clearly that applies to Scorpio rising energy. But if you're using it as a way to either manipulate people to sort of get on board with you, or you use it in a very sort of underhanded way by testing people, that's really not the vibe. And that can really be indicative of someone who's got unconscious Scorpio energy, right? You don't know how to wield this power. And so you may find that life is really chaotic. You may find that things aren't going according to plan, or everything kind of blows up in your face, right? So if you find that you're in this category, you've got to do some self-reflection. Now, Scorpio energy and Scorpio rising, y'all are great at doing shadow work. So a little shadow work will go a long way with you, right? And specifically, you want to focus on, what intensity am I bringing to the situation? Like, what am I contributing to this chaos? Understanding your power first so that you could use it constructively. Which brings me to the next group, which is the reactive Scorpio rising. This, I don't want to say it's the opposite of the unconscious Scorpio rising, but this is where you feel like everything is happening to you, where you feel like you're always under attack, where you're in power struggles, but you feel like you're constantly losing, where you feel like people are manipulating, dominating, or trying to control you, especially in relationships. You feel like your partners are narcissistic, or they're very manipulative, right? Or you're experiencing treachery in friendships, in family dynamics, right? And it's not to say that this isn't the case. There are fucked up people out there, right? However, it's your positioning, it is perhaps sort of magnetizing this kind of energy. And again, it speaks to the fact that you're not comfortable in your power. You may understand your power, but you feel like it's being used against you. And the same thing goes for you, shadow work. And but for you, it's more about putting into practice the characteristics of Scorpio. And what I mean by that is, instead of feeling dominated, right? Maybe it's time for you to have difficult conversations with people and set boundaries so they know not to dominate you or not to really push your buttons. Maybe it's time to eliminate some of those toxic relationships around you instead of sitting in this pool of toxicity, right? Maybe it's time for you to really harness your own power and start using it, as opposed to people telling you what your power is. Because sometimes that can happen also, because power is such a thing. And when people encounter power, they either want to dominate it or cower sometimes. Maybe it's time for you to start roaring. Maybe it's time for you to really put yourself out there and let people know, I'm not one to be fucked with, right? But again, it's all about understanding what pushes your buttons. It's all about understanding that power and reacting to things in accordance with that power, right? I hope that that makes sense. It's important for you to understand that certain battles are not worth fighting. Pick and choose your battles wisely. Whatever makes you feel less than empowered, whatever's pushing your buttons, it may be time to get rid of. But in certain dynamics, you're going to have to stand up. You're going to have to wield your power constructively. And that takes practice. So, apart from just doing shadow work for this group, it's really about taking that power and using it constructively. And then we move on to the mature Scorpio rising. This is when you understand and truly use your power constructively. You're not dominating people, you're not manipulating people, you're not reacting immediately. You don't need to expose everyone's weaknesses. You know when to talk, you know when to be silent. You can understand people's motivations. You can see beneath the surface of why people are doing what they are doing and how they are doing it, and you move accordingly. You can match people's energy. You let people reveal themselves. This is when you've gained full mastery over your power. This takes time. Some of you may be there already, but some of you really need to do the work, especially if you need to do the shadow work and you need to start practicing using your power in constructive ways. But here's the thing, and here's when that Scorpio rising energy becomes very potent. It's not loud, it's not manipulative, it's not sneaky, it's subtle, it's peaceful. I love to say when it comes to Scorpio energy, still waters run deep, and Scorpio is a fixed sign. So it's not about chaos, it's not about a tsunami, it's not about a tempest, it's about controlled, strategic, even, right? So when you get there, now you are moving about in the world in a very powerful sort of way. So you're not getting dragged by life, nor do you feel like you need to fight everyone for a seat at the table. You're using your power constructively. And in that way, you start magnetizing some really amazing, transformative situations to you. And you'll find that those who are attracted to you, they need that transformative energy, but it's not going to be chaotic. It's like everyone gets what they need in a calm, controlled, and strategic kind of way. And that's the beauty of the mature Scorpio rising energy. So, to wrap this up, I want you to understand that intensity is par for the course when we're talking about Scorpio rising energy, but it's not a curse. It's actually a radar. It's a radar that gives you information, and that information can inform your actions. That intensity can help you move about strategically as opposed to dictating how you will experience life. All right. And so, if you want to know more about your Scorpio rising and how much power you actually hold, what else is going on in your natal chart, then you're definitely going to want to sign up for my signature natal chart experience, which is the blueprint. So this isn't a regular natal chart reading. It's actually three kind of readings in one. And this is my unique framework. So we not only go over your natal chart, we go over your transits, and we go over your progressed natal chart to a certain extent. And I do it this way because it's great to know like how you're designed, but it's even better to know how you're designed as it compares to what chapter you are in your life right now and what's currently going on. And when you put those three together, it gives you a crystal clear picture on yourself and kind of what you need to do. Okay. And so if you're interested in that, the link for my clarity call, which is a 15-minute free call where we can discuss if this service is right for you, that will be in the description box below. Or if you are ready to get going, the link to book the blueprint is also going to be in the description box below. All right. But I want to leave you with some questions in order to do like a self audit. So you can kind of figure out where you are in this Scorpio rising energy so that you can better inform your actions, or so that this information can better inform your actions. All right. So, number one, do people often tell you you are intimidating? Number two, do you test loyalty and do you test trust at the outset, like when you first meet somebody? Number three, do you feel safest when you are in control? Number four, do your relationships often involve power dynamics or power struggles? And finally, number five, do things tend to escalate around you? In other words, do you often bring the chaos? All right, I want you to sit with these questions and answer them honestly so you can figure out exactly where you are. And again, if you figure out where you are and you need some guidance, I'm definitely here for that. So, all the information for my services are in the description box below. And if you're feeling bold, Share some of your answers in the comment section below so your fellow Scorpio risings or those who want to understand Scorpio risings can understand y'all better. All right, so hopefully you guys found this information informative. I'll be doing some more videos like this in the future. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do so, set that notification bell, and share this video with anyone who you may know needs this, right? Another Scorpio rising, someone who's dating a Scorpio rising, that's a whole other thing right there. But share this video so all of us can better understand this beautiful, powerful, transformative energy. All right, my loves, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.